You're watching special broadcast on DD India, India's voice to the world. I'm Sakal Bhatt. In the next 1 hour, we will be getting you all the updates of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Russia. And as we just mentioned, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be landing in Moscow in a short while from now. This is Prime Minister Modi's first visit to Russia in nearly 5 years. He last visited the country in 2019 for an economic forum in the eastern Russian port city of Vladivostok. Prime Minister Modi said that he is looking forward to reviewing the bilateral cooperation between India and Russia with his friend Vladimir Putin. The Prime Minister also hailed the privileged and special strategic partnership between the two countries and how it has advanced over the last decade. Jessica Taneja of DD India gets us more from Moscow.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will pay an official visit to Moscow on the 8th and 9th of July. He will be arriving in Moscow in the afternoon on 8th July. President Putin will host a private dinner for the Prime Minister on the day of arrival.
This visit of Prime Minister to Russia is in the first place resumption of the annual summit between the leaders. Second, there is a very multifaceted relationship between India and Russia. So we expect discussions between the leaders to cover all those aspects, both bilateral issues and dimensions of its relationship, but also the regional and global issues of mutual interest will be discussed.
The next day, Prime Minister's interactions would include an interface with the Indian community in Russia. The Indian community is excited to welcome the Prime Minister in Moscow.
From the India's diaspora, we would like to take our relation on the next level on cultural, the personal relations and everything.
I'm very much looking forward to meeting Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Of course, we have just seen him on the television. So for the first time, we'll be looking at him live in person. And have a very fruitful conversation with him.
I'm really looking forward to our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi's visit to Russia. He's already been here several times, but this time it should be special again for me and for Indians diaspora.
As part of programming elements, Prime Minister will also lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Kremlin. Later, Prime Minister will visit the Rosatom Pavilion at the exhibition venue in Moscow. These engagements will be followed by restricted-level talks between the two leaders, which will then be followed by delegation-level talks led by Prime Minister and the Russian President. The Indian Prime Minister last visited Russia in 2019 for an economic forum in the far eastern Russian port city of Vladivostok. He last travelled to Moscow in 2015. During his last visit to India, Russian President Vladimir Putin had said that Moscow works with New Delhi in the technical and military sphere like no other country. He said Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a time-tested friend. This visit is aimed at reinforcing those ties and also looking at diversifying trade ties beyond the defense and energy sector. This is Jessica Taneja with video journalist Shubham in Moscow for DD India.